My bad. I got kicked out for a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another marvelous episode of the Wrestling Fast Podcast, Ringside Society. In one corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money. Mary Jane or Popeye Spinach. He is the tranquil dart of Ringside Society, Delaware's greatest American hero. And whenever he goes to Taco Bell, he asks for a cheap burrito because he loves the combination of chicken and beef. It takes two to make a thing go right. He is Rob Bass, and you are not. And the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, does it for the passion, never to be famous, fresh off a trip from the city of angels, no cap, straight facts, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. But it's not about us. You see, for the first time ever, we have a unique tag team. That's right. For the first time here on Ringside Society, the Wrestling Fans Podcast, we actually have a father and daughter tag team. That's right. They're coming together. You know, they say a wise man once said, when you want to do something great, you look to your family, you look to your blood. And then he proceeded to make one of the biggest, greatest stables of all time. And right now, we have a father and daughter that are actually coming together to kick some butt in the ring. Man, I am sorry for their opponents. Everybody, welcome to the show, Miguel and Saige del Barrio.
Ringside Society.
Del Barrio.
Woo! Woo! First one is done. Thank you so much
I
for
gotta
having
say,
us, guys. We appreciate it.
no problem, Miguel and Sage. Miguel, you were always on our radar. It's just a matter of like when we could have when we want to have you on. Because I always tell Rob, and I'm sure Rob is sick of hearing about it. I'm like Professor X. It's like it's not a matter if I can have somebody on the show. It's who I should have on first. Because
Right.
first we got the Brothers Gray, but then we got this person over here that's doing things. But then we got the Del Barrios. But oh snap, there's also this other person in Delaware
Yeah,
that
I
lives a
love
block
this,
away from
man.
Rob. So trust me, you were always on our radar,
No,
man.
no problem, man. I appreciate it. We seen the Grays, and Sage was training with them week in and week out, and then when they came down to 1CW and stuff, and tagged up with me a couple months ago. She was in the crowd, but we're a tight unit and we're a tight team. So seeing them come on your podcast, we're like, yep, they're doing great. So that's great, man. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I gotta say, it was actually this guy over here, my co-host over here, Rob Bass, that actually told us about the Brothers Gray. And I always tell Rob and our other co-host Kathy, I'm like, hey, if you guys ever, know of any people that we should have on the show, let us know. And he mentioned the Brothers Gray. I'm like, awesome. They seem like a serious tag team. Like they're
Yeah.
no joke. Let's have them on. And then after, it's funny because after I was looking through the profile, I saw you, and I was like, wait, who's the other guy? This other guy looks like he fits right in with him. And they were like, oh, that's my friend Miguel Del Barrio. So I'm like, wow, he looks like he fits right in with you guys, man. Like y'all definitely make a cool
Yeah, thank
stable.
you.
Yeah. So, I gotta ask, I know me ask, most of our guests that we have on here, but how did y'all become fans of professional wrestling? Like how did it happen?
So, do you want to go first? I'll go first. You go first.
So
You go first.
I was in a gym. It's called MMA Signatures. I was training self-defense there because I was getting bullied in school and I didn't know how to defend myself. So I was self-defense and then boxing because I wasn't gonna get jumped. I wasn't gonna be one of those girls that get played. And then I hear the banging and I hear all these loud noises and I get anxious, I guess, with that. Well, I did. And I would get distracted by self-defense. My self-defense instructor would, I guess, yell at me to get back on track. But then he noticed that I was actually interested in the banging and the loud noises and stuff. Because I just saw, like, bigger guys doing flippy crap, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And once I was done with self-defense, he asked if I can go into the back room, which was his other school at the time. And he put on a show for me and asked if I wanted to run ropes, and since then I fell in love with that.
Yeah, it's really a cool story because, like I said, like when I like Sage just said, like she was literally like Sage is like my kid. She's my kid, but she's my stepdaughter. So and anybody and everybody, so they know this is my kid. Like I love her to death, as if she was my own. But regardless of that, like when I first met her, she was literally, like she said, doing self defense class with her younger sister, and her mom was there. Obviously, is my fiance now, but she was doing self defense, and she's right. Like I would catch her looking at us doing the running ropes and taking bumps and stuff, and then eventually I did go up to her mom and ask her, hey, do you mind if I bring your daughter into the ring and give it a shot? And when she ran the ropes and took her first bump, like I asked her mom, like I asked Melody, I was like, listen, like, was her father ever into wrestling? And she's like, no, he's not in the picture, this, that, and the third. But no, she has never seen a sliver of it. So I said, well, she's got a talent. I'm telling you now, there's something there. And then, the rest is kind of history for the Del Barrio name. We started traveling around. We started doing this and that. Me and her mom kind of fell for each other quick. And then she had nothing but to do is stick with it. And she loved it. So here we are now. Like we're 3-4 years later. And she's ready to make her debut. She's been watching me make my comeback ever since she came into my life. So here we are. We haven't stopped and we're going strong now.
I gotta say, kudos on making your comeback into pro wrestling. I know there's some people that walk away from it, but and I know, like I said, I've never taken a bump in my life. I don't think I will. I'm touching 40 next month. I'll always leave the tough stuff to young boys like Rob and them. Let them do the moonsaults and so on. I would tell Rob, if you're not ready for a tag team, all the flippy stuff, and I'll leave that to you. You could be the AJ Styles. I'll be the guy that just sticks to the ground and just just does the little a little headlock or something. I'm too old to be flying around, man.
Right.
But good on you for that as well too. And it's cool that y'all are actually a tag team and all that. So where have y'all traveled so far? I mean, you're based in Pennsylvania, correct?
Yeah, we're in the Poconos, and we have me and Saige's mother decided about a year and a half ago to start Frontier Pro Wrestling, so we do that. But other than that, we go up to Delaware. We have some shows in Scranton coming up for a couple of different companies. We have Jersey coming up and Virginia too. We just got a call to go up to do Virginia because like the rules in between the states are a little different. Like in PA, she's got to be 18 to wrestle, but in other places she doesn't. So, other than that, like now that she's becoming of age, now it's like all green lights are go. So, and like I said, it's the first time we're ever on a podcast together. So like you guys are going to get it. Like the only reason I made my comeback in general 4 years ago was because of her, because I was pretty much done with it. I felt like I just wasn't getting anywhere. And then I came back. I don't know if you guys know, I'm pretty sure Rob might know, cause I've known Rob for a little bit. But I had a tiger mask back in the day. So
okay.
when the tiger mask came off, like the name just took off. And then everybody started hearing about, hey, Tigre/Miguel has a daughter who's wrestling. So then her name started coming up, and then it just worked itself into this big thing where now she's of age and she's going to go and do her thing. And I'm just here to watch it happen and open any doors that I still can for her.
Tigre, why do I think I have you on Facebook? Because there was a couple.
You probably have it. It's two different people, but yeah, it's the same guy.
Wow, small world. But yeah, that's cool that that you had the tiger mask and everything, and you're making another comeback, and hopefully y'all got to wrestle in New Jersey, which is cool. But hopefully y'all could definitely make y'all way over here to New York, because we got a Battle Club Pro over here. We got Catalyst Wrestling over here. The New York scene is getting like pretty hot. Not that it never was cold, but it's heating up again more now because we have like some great talent. We got we have like the Battle Club Pro, which actually recently just announced their sister promotion not sister promotion, but their collaborator, if that's a word, with Capital Championship Wrestling.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and Masha Stamovich actually runs the wrestling school for Battle Club. Her and George Santi and so on. So yeah, it's heating up over here. So hopefully we get to see y'all over here, and we get to see the Del Barrios in action as well. So I got it. So you're a father, obviously. You have two daughters and whatnot. If you could give advice to anybody that is a parent in pro wrestling, and Sage, I'm gonna ask you a different question in relation to this one. It's kind of flippy, for like no pun intended. If what advice would you give those parents, the fathers and the mothers, whose kids say at a young age, "Hey, when I graduate high school, I want to go and be a pro wrestler." What advice? And they're like, "No," but what advice would you give that parent that's like a bit apprehensive about their child wanting to go into that world?
See, and I think, and I knew this podcast was going to be special because you just gave me a question that I can give you two different answers from two different aspects. So me, I never had my mom, and I love her, and if she sees this podcast, she might be watching. Love you, mom. But the thing with my mom is that she was never supportive of this, and as a mom, not that she didn't believe in my dream, but as a mom, she didn't want to see me get hurt because I started at 16. I'm 30 now. So if I could have given my mom advice, and I can give any parent advice who has a kid that before high school graduating or even after or on the cusp of it, it would be just, even with her, have patience. And listen, on this podcast, we'll say it. She drives me crazy. She really does. You know why? Because at the end of the day, she's an amazing athlete. She's an amazing student, and she's going to be an amazing wrestler, better than I ever was at this age. But there's still times where, I think we deal with a couple of things that other coaches and students don't. The problem with us is when the lights go off in the gym and the doors closes. If there's a frustration between a coach and a student, they get to go home and sleep it off. We don't. We'll argue all the way home about things, and this is how it should have been. And then the next morning, she'll still be like, you know what? I still think I was right yesterday. I'm like, you weren't. I've been doing this since I was 16. But other than that, like I said, my advice to parents would be don't give up on your kids. If it's a genuine dream that they have, and even if they move out of it, no matter what it is, whether it's wrestling, whether it's being a lawyer, whether it's being a teacher, always just support your kids and have patience. They will find their own way eventually with your support.
Awesome. So Sage, now I'm going to ask you. You're the daughter of a pro wrestler. Your dad is he's doing his thing, and now you're teaming with him. What advice would you give somebody that is around your age that's in the same predicament? Their dad or mom is a pro wrestler, and they're getting what advice would you give them that you've learned as of now?
We're not always right when that was hard to say. We're not always right. Now you are gonna bump heads, and no, the father or mother isn't always right either. But
no, not.
It's honestly all about communication. Like our communication always isn't on a straight roller coaster. There's always twists, there's always turns, but I just feel like the key with us, like us personally, and I feel like it's the key for most, I guess, relationships or like to work, is communication. And you don't always think you're right. Don't just that's honestly it. Me personally,
Communication.
At least that's with us. Like that's our problem, is communication. Like we say, like one may say one thing and another says another. It's the same thing, just worded different.
Yeah, that's where we butt heads. Like it's funny because there's been times we were in arguments and she'll be like, well, this is what I'm saying. And I'm like, well, this is what I'm saying. And then when we go in the ring and we do the same exact thing that each was saying, but in a different way, we're like, okay. Yeah, we were on the same page the whole time.
I think from a kid to a parent, it's just communication. Because I know the parent, regardless, will have their child back. They'll make sure that they're safe. They'll make sure all of that. It's just communication.
Awesome. That's cool. So I got another question for you now. So Sage, you have a younger sister. What would y'all's reaction be if she's like, I want to wrestle too. I want to jump in the ring and team with my sister Saige and my dad Miguel and kick some butt and take some names? Would y'all be like, would y'all be in unison like, no, you're gonna go to school, go to college, get a career? Or would you be like, yeah, come on down, the more the merrier. We can use a third person, to help us take down, our opponents and so on.
So you give your answer first, because that's your sister, and you guys butt heads too, and then I'll give the father aspect of it.
So, okay, the problem is we have the same DNA, but we're totally opposite people.
Yeah.
She's more the UFC. She's stubborn. She's hard-headed. It's her way or no way, or it's her way, or you have to make it your way.
She'd be our Dominic.
Yes. So, I love her to death, but I feel like she'd be a lot harder to work with.
Yeah.
And I feel like she'd be the Ronda Rousey of the group.
Like,
it doesn't connect because we're more luchador.
Yeah,
so it'd be
very
like
much
luchador
so.
and then Ronda. Like that doesn't connect.
So on the father side of that, see, and that's funny. Like I know you guys have only seen the 2, but believe it or not, I'm a father of 4. She has an older sister, then her, then a younger sister, and then our little 4-year-old, who's also loving the ring. And then whenever he gets a chance, he'll run ropes with us and just be in there. But to me, as a father, I'd be like, absolutely, let's all do what we got to do and be the best faction this world's ever seen next to DX, yeah, right? But, you're right, like as much as, and even now, just with her involved in wrestling, like now I push her, like school comes first. Like I don't care about any of the other wrestling stuff. Like school has to come first. I know your main goal is NXT WWE. She's actually very focused on getting on CCW right now. She was actually training right before the podcast. We were training out there, and yeah, she still got her knee pads on. I was literally coming on camera as we were taking them off. She was literally out there busting her butt, and we were putting some tape together for CCW because that's like her main goal right now. And but yeah, like if we could have the whole family involved, like I've been trying to tell her mom, and I know she can hear me past this wall. Like she doesn't even get in the ring with me, but if she wanted to be the manager, we could be the Del Barrios and we can conquer this whole world. I'm telling you. Call out
Man, I would not. Hey, if I ever see Mrs. Del Barrio, Mama Del Barrio, to you, be coming out as a manager. I can imagine her hitting some guy over the head with a chancleta and be like, no, don't touch my husband. Well, bam, The Rock. It's funny thing I mentioned that. I don't know if you watch Young Rock, but if you did, where I'm going to go with this. There was and it was a true story. Peter Maivia's wife, Leah Maivia, she didn't know how wrestling was. And she thought her husband was really getting beat up, so she went in the ring and started hitting the guy with a shield.
So you ready? You guys are gonna get an exclusive story. We haven't told it, and I don't think the footage ever made it out just yet. I think it might still be. So we have our wrestling. We have 2 wrestling rings. We have one of them set up here at the house. So we don't want to head down to wherever we need to go train with a couple other guys in other gyms. We'll walk right outside our door, and the ring's right there. So we actually did a taping for High Tension. And it's that exact story. Until you made that connection, now I'm laughing about it because I didn't think about it. So Ariana or Saige and I had a taping match for High Tension. It was in my yard. We put some tarps up and we had wrestlers all come so we could do this taping. So me and Saige are going at it, and we were having a pretty decent high hitting, high flying lucha show. And my mom knows, that's just it. My mom knows what this is, right? She's been around it long enough because she's had to deal with me since I was 16. But so she actually came in and must have just lost all sense of reality. And when she seen me give her, I think it was a big scoop slam off of a crossbody, she came off the top rope. My mother proceeded to take her chancleta off. And she got in the ring and smacked me as hard as I could. And at that point, the guy behind the camera is I'm like, oh man, I'm looking at the camera guy and I'm like, oh no, what do we do? And he's like, just keep rolling with it. Like my mom came in and hit me a couple times. And then their godfather, who's also a wrestler, came out and pulled my mom out and was like, all right, Rocio, it's okay. And then Ariana or Saige just went right into it and just kept going. We made it a part of the match. And it was so cool that happened. And you're right. The Rock did share a similar moment like that. Yeah, I got beat up.
Yeah, that's great that y'all actually have a ring set up in y'all's backyard.
Yeah.
It's all, to me, that shows when somebody that's in the business and has a ring set up in their yard or even in the garage, that shows they're very serious about their craft. And I give kudos to y'all on that too. Saige, I hope you make it to CCW. I can tell you right now, that's one of the best in the North. Not one of the best women's promotion in the Northeast. That's my opinion, which I'm entitled to. If anybody want to argue with your best friend. That's my opinion. Yeah. But CCW is definitely one of the best, and I'm rooting for you to get in there, and I'm rooting for you. We'll be rooting for you when you make that debut. We'll be cheering because we'll be like, yeah, she finally made it. She finally did it. You
Yeah.
know, she's in there with several of the best in the world, and I tell people don't sleep on CCW because they're doing a lot of great things. They just had Miyu Yamashita all the way from Japan.
Yeah, we were there.
Um,
Yeah, we were at that show. Yeah.
yeah. So and before that, I think they had Shaza. They've had several people that all over the world make their stop at CCW. So it's definitely one of the best promotions in the Northeast that anybody can check out. I've been fortunate to actually be a timekeeper for them. For their, I was their timekeeper. I was a timekeeper for their show at their not Tuesday, their February event, and I had a great time there as well. Marcello's a really cool dude. Glad
Yeah,
to
we
know the
love
guy.
Marcello. We love Marcello.
Marcello,
Yeah,
shout out to you, man.
yeah, brother. Thank you
Um,
for all the opportunities. And that's just the thing with me too. Like with her, like everybody asked me, like even we were back there, and Rob, I think you were back there in the locker room with us at the last show just now, right? This past couple weeks ago, and I was back there, and someone asked me like, "Hey man, like why don't you send tape to like AEW and stuff?" And I'm like, "You guys don't realize it yet. Like you guys, I guess haven't got it. Like I'm not doing this for me anymore. You know, I do this because I love this, and if I can have my hand in making a good future for wrestling, because not to throw out names, and I'm not going to, but there's a lot of wrestlers out there that call themselves wrestlers, but they didn't finish doing what they needed to do. And it's like you said, like we have a school now, we have our show, which we have the one ring. We didn't need two rings, but because of this little one and her training and her desire to be the best, I said I gotta get another one because she needs to have one when she needs it, and she has an idea she wants to work. So she's out there all the time. I think we got the ring back up because it's still even kind of cold now, but we got the ring back up about 3 weeks ago, and she's been in there about like 12 days out of all of those 3 weeks. 12 days she's been in there busting her butt with new students coming in and stuff and helping out and helping people get through their stuff. But CCW is her main goal right now, which I have to appreciate because everybody's like, "Oh, I want to go WWE, I want to go AEW," but she's like, "No, I want to go work for Marcello first and work those girls down there and prove my worth and then move on."
yeah, that's awesome. And I honestly, I believe that you are Miguel. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're Colombian, correct?
Ecuadorian, close, real close.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
bad.
Ecuadorian,
I was gonna,
Colombia, right there on the same thing. So yeah.
it's okay. I'm Guyanese, so we're not that far in regards to being neighbors.
We can
We're
hear
there.
her. You can say it louder. It's okay.
That's
When they first met me, and Melody Del Barrio makes fun of it too. Like I had the mask, right? And the reason I had the mask is because I idolized Eddie, and he had a tiger mask in Japan, which Mercedes Moné just paid homage to him too as well over the weekend. But them, it's like they're running jokes. They're like, "You're not really Ecuadorian, you're Mexican." So yeah, I'll take Colombian over Mexican any day too.
Yeah, I saw. Honestly, when I first saw, I thought you were Filipino.
So
I
everyone says
thought you
that
were
too. Yeah.
Filipino. I thought it's okay. People mistake me for being Dominican at times, so
There you
it happens
go.
to me too. But yeah, how does it feel? We being both men of the South American culture. How does it feel to see like people like Red Velvet, who's Colombian and Dominican, and then you have Valentina Feroz, who is Brazilian, and then you have although she got released, I don't know why they released her. You have Carolina Garcia, who's from Chile. Why does it make you feel when you see like fellow South American wrestlers getting that exposure on the big screen?
So, like I said, when it comes to me and like pro wrestling and stuff like that, like obviously I'm very proud and a proud Ecuadorian and stuff, and like I don't know when it happened, but like if you think of back in the day, like the Attitude Era, even coming off of it, you had guys like Ray and Eddie and stuff like that, and for some reason the landscape changed again, and it was like we started losing these national heroes. But now we're coming back up on a high where all those people you mentioned and like people like Thunder Rosa and Mercedes and all them like of different South American nationality. Like I think like we need more of that. We need more culture. If it was up to
Oh yeah,
me, if I could have someone straight from somewhere else other than United States, UK, Mexico, and all the other countries we always see, I'd want to do that because we're not the only countries in the world, right? It's about all of us. Like I want to
yeah,
see more diversity, and I want to see something I've never seen. But I don't know. People don't think the same as I do sometimes, though.
yeah. I always say diversity is great because it attracts more people.
Correct.
Like I never thought in my life that all the years I'm watching, I would see a Guyanese wrestler, um, on TV. Lo and behold, you had Ezekiel Jackson, aka Ricklin Stevens, who was born and raised in Ghana, and he's doing his he was doing his thing in WWE. You had Kenny King, who I didn't even know was half Guyanese. I had to when I finally met him in Los Angeles, I was like, Kenny, why don't you tell me you're Guyanese, man? Like, you over here just doing all. Come on, man! Like, you just told me that, brother. And he gave me a dap and whatnot. And then there's also Willow Nightingale, who is also a half Guyanese as well too. So yeah, I was like, wow, we're definitely coming out of the woodwork, and we're definitely making, a lot more nationalities are making a name for themselves, and I like to see things like that. I think it's great for business as well too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I gotta say another thing. I saw your match against Brian Matthews, man. You guys, I could not believe. Rob, you saw what this man did against Brian Matthews? This man did a whole like, what was it? The hip toss into like an arm. I was like, wow. I was like, yo, this is crazy. Yeah, man.
That was that. You know what it is with me too is yeah, I even said it to her a while ago. Like, she said she wanted to be unique, and she's doing a couple finishes in her mind that she wants to stick with. Like, you can't make new moves. You can't. I mean, you can make them look flashy, but wrestling's been around for so long that you can't make new moves because it's all been done before. At one point the cutter was new, but now everybody does it. At one point the switch in music was new, but now everybody does it. So that move you're talking about, when I hit that on Brian Matthews, man, we were in the back and was, what can we do? And sometimes it just happens. It was the way we caught him, and I'm like, I'm going, man, and boom, looked beautiful.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was a unique move, man. I was like, wow, that's neat. Like, I've never seen a hip toss into like, and I've been watching wrestling for like 30.
There you go.
33 years. I now it's 33 years now, and I've never seen that. So I just gotta say, kudos to that as well.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna ask each of y'all these last two questions. I know Rob is chomping at a bit, and it's the same question for both of y'all. So, Miguel, if you could wrestle 5 people in the whole of the wrestling world, who would it be?
5. Okay. I think someone just asked me this not too long ago. You better think of your 5. I would want a match with Kenny Omega for sure. I'd want a match with Eddie if he was still around for sure. Definitely would want a match with Punk. I'd want a match with Seth Rollins. And I'd want a match with Shawn Michaels. Because in my book, Shawn Michaels is the greatest wrestler of all time. So those are my 5 right there.
Awesome. Saige, how about you? Who would you want to wrestle? Top 5 people you want to wrestle, in the whole professional wrestling?
Do they have to be all females?
No. You could do everyone.
So Mercedes or Sasha, definitely. You all can hate me, but it's okay. Roman.
Oh God.
There's a long backstory with him. Yep, I see those facial expressions. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Shinsuke? Is that what you're about to say?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I was thinking about him. Definitely Jeff Hardy, because we have the same style, and I think we would have a really, really good match.
No, one more.
Ooh.
I took one of yours just now.
Yeah, you did. I was gonna say Seth Rollins. I love Seth Rollins, but it's not him. Oh, I forgot his name.
Which one?
AEW. He just came back.
Who just came back? You said Jeff already.
No, we sang his theme song.
Chris Jericho?
Yes.
Chris Jericho.
Yes, I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a big fan of Jericho. She doesn't watch AEW as much, but she definitely watches the bigger guys over there, like Jericho and Hardy and Kenny Omega and the Bucks. So she'll tune in for those. Jericho.
I don't blame you. I would tune in too. I mean, Jericho is, he's one of the best to do it. And so are the Young Bucks. So I definitely don't blame you. I just lost my train of thought. Oh, the Seth Rollins thing, y'all. Hey, it's no problem. Hey, let me tell you something. Seth Rollins has a tag team partner named Marek Brave, who I guess pretty much might have had the same moveset. So hey, maybe y'all could team up against, the Black and the Brave.
That was just something in my head that I was thinking, what tag team would we verse? I think we've had this conversation, but I think the Hardys would be the tag team we'd want to team up against if they were still around. Like DX was a close second there with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, but I think me and her, when we first linked up in wrestling, and we were watching tape a lot before when she started learning. Like we both we watch at least once a year. We'll watch the Jeff Hardy DVD. At least once a year we'll watch that one. Because
Right.
I don't know, we're just huge Jeff Hardy fans. Even her mom, like we wish you'd clean it up just a little bit more. But yeah, we were huge Hardy fans. So
Awesome. So hey, the Hardys, I gotta say they're like two of the most creative wrestlers
yes,
that you can have in pro wrestling. And I always said that Matt Hardy, and I'm willing to die on this hill, he never got his just due.
I say it all the time.
In WWE, in AEW, he's doing pretty fine. In Impact, he was great. But I always call it the Matt Hardy treatment in WWE because you could see so much potential in this guy. Didn't have a lot of flashy moves, but the
he was a wrestler.
creativity with this guy.
But he was a
Yeah.
wrestler.
Right.
Yeah. I was telling my fiance that when Jeff Hardy came back, like 2 weeks ago, she's a huge Jeff Hardy fan with her, and Matt was out there, and she's like, you know what? But I always loved Jeff, and I tell her, I'm like, it's because it was meant to be that way. You're supposed to love Jeff because he was the risk taker and high flyer. But what you didn't overlook was how great Matt was, because Matt is just a phenomenal technical wrestler as well.
He's too technical.
Yeah, I remembered. Honestly, I don't think Matt is too technical. If you want to look at too technical, look at a guy like Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, you have
That guy could be a bit
that is too technical.
That guy's like, geez, okay, we got one here. But I always say that, yeah, because I've had times when I've like, okay, can we see a power slam, Zach, or can we see like some knee lifters?
That's Miss Del Barrio too, and her too. Like there'll be some matches that I'm into. Like I'll be into. Like I mean, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Mox. I kind of like Paige, but every time they go into it, then they start bleeding, and then it gets out of hand. I'm like, it's the same crap over and over. We'll sit there and be like, oh God, another bloody ending match. Here we go. But like the technical. I mean,
no, I feel like he needs more flash. Like he needs.
But that's because you're used to seeing Jeff, and you want to see both of them do it.
No, it's not that. I just feel like you can't have. It's like
here's the communication.
See? No, it's like a party. You can't have some hype person. You can't have a slouch at a party. You need two hype people.
I'll die on that hill with you, buddy. Matt Hardy all the way.
Yeah, Matt. I always felt that Matt should have gotten more like creative freedom, and he should. Yeah. Vince should have just been like. I always say that when the whole thing with Matt and Lita when they broke up, that's when Matt's career should have taken off to like the moon. And if I were Vince,
because Ed did.
And if I were Vince, I'd be like, okay, well, Matt, do whatever you want to do. Don't offend nobody's ethnicity or religion or anything. But the ball is yours. Go. I would have done that, but I guess Vince had other ideas. So hey, I guess that's professional wrestling for you. But I always say that Matt was, he should have been at least WWE champion one time, and he could have definitely done a lot of great things with WWE as well.
I was happy when we won the ECW championship. So.
Why do you think he's a manager now? Well, he was a manager.
No, he's still wrestling.
No,
now Jeff's back, so now they're all
because of Jeff.
Four.
He was stuck managing because that's how bad he was.
No, it's not that he's bad.
Right.
He's old. No. He's older than your dad. He's got to take it easy.
Still goes. Ric Flair is moving.
Well, let's talk about that.
No, that's why he's so bad. He was stuck managing 3 tag teams and 2 singles.
That's another thing with her. Even in the indie scene, we'll go out. I think you guys know him, Big Dust from the Goons.
Oh yeah.
CW, she can't stand it because like when she first met Big Dust, she was cool with him, and she's like, "Hey, no," and she loves Big Dust as a person. But then Dust kept coming out. Like even at 1CW, he comes out with 1 tag team. Then there's a singles guy. Then there's a triple tag. She's like, how many times is Dust going to come out? But, that's what makes a good manager. I'm just saying.
He doesn't wrestle, though.
Matt
does.
Actually, we watched Dust wrestle at High Tension, remember? That was a good match. I liked it. Anyways.
Not compared to Matt. Matt is so bad he was stuck being a manager. He didn't get an offer until Jeff came. But now Jeff is here. Now he's going to get these offers.
Gotta stick with what makes your money.
Yeah.
When you
Man,
look at the
she,
WWE, if the only way I can get into the locker room is carry your bags, you best believe I'm no longer wrestling. I'm just carrying your bags.
So you're gonna be stuck there.
Right. Gotta go with my
anyways, I'm gonna turn it over to Rob. I know Rob has a couple of
Rob,
questions for you.
buddy.
So,
Me and Rob go
Rob,
way
go
back.
ahead, man.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Remy. So what's going on, guys? How y'all
What's
doing
up,
today?
Rob?
How's the day been treating everyone?
Good. It's been tiring. She was in school, had work. No, me too. Yeah, we're there.
Oh yeah. Then y'all were training in the ring too,
Yeah, then
weren't
we
you?
get in the
Before
ring and
that.
kick each other's butt. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I know y'all were sore. Well, I know. Pop, you're sore. You know the youngin. You know she probably ready to go again. You know what I mean? Like let's
Yeah,
roll.
believe it or not, after we get done here, we got to look back at the tape that we were looking for that we wanted to send CCW. And if we don't like it, we're going to run it back. So, yeah.
There you go. I know how that is, man. You know, I'm 41, man. So whenever I go to training and stuff, man, it's like, yeah, run the road stuff, and I haven't done it in a while. I'm like,
That's
woo,
rough.
oh, woo, man, my back is tore up. You know, I'm good. You know, I think I'm good for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Wrap me up, man. Rub me out with some Ben Gay, and I'm good.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Mm-hmm. So I gotta ask, you know, Sage, you were talking about earlier, you know, you're doing self-defense and stuff now. How do you think that translated over to, you know, going to wrestling and stuff? You know, did it help it make learning things easier because you did, you know, you're doing, you know, boxing and all kinds of stuff, you know, beforehand. So now you got the wrestling, you're like, oh, I could do some of this stuff. You know, damn, you know, this translates pretty well.
Honestly, yeah, and it was more about the personality. It was the connection and the communication. That's what I go back to. Like, as long as I have a good connection with the person and good communication, we bond, and that's what him and I did. Like, we had a different connection as it was supposed to be coach and student than I did with any other coach, and I just wanted to pursue that because he actually gave me the attention that I needed versus my other coach. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was, I'm not gonna say they were bad. They were really good because I did what I needed to do, but it was something different with him that sparked that I didn't receive from the other coaches.
Okay, yeah, okay, I got you on that. Now, Miguel, man, when she started training with you and stuff, man, was it one of those things, you know? Because like sometimes I'll go to the workhorse training thing, we get new guys or girls come up there, and I'm like, and it's like, woo, okay, yeah, they got it. They stick with this, they got it, and all. Was it kind of like with her? You were watching, you're like, okay, yeah,
Believe
we
it or
got
not,
something here.
and I don't think I've ever said this out loud, even to my fiance now. I don't think I have. So this will be the first time I say it out loud, even with her involved here. When she first came down, and she got in the ring, the first day of training, she told me she wanted to come back. Her mom said, "Hey, how much do I owe you?" You know, me being a guy that sees this pretty woman who's now like who wasn't with anybody at the time, I was like, "Ah, don't worry about it." So, but looking back at it, I remember at that time when I had my first school, my first shot at being a coach, my head coach, who was someone that helped train me when I was younger, I called him that night and I was like, "Hey man, like I really need you to come to training." And he goes, "Why? Did something happen at training today?" Because I was coaching. And I was like, "No, man, but this little 13-year-old girl stepped into the ring today." And he goes, "What happened? Did she get hurt?" I'm like, "No, man, but there's just something about her." And I don't want to like fill their head up with fake dreams or you could do this because I may be seeing something different. I had that coach come down and I let him take her. He got in the ring and goes, "Hey, nice to meet you. Da 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 da. I'm just such and such. And all right, let's see you run ropes. All right, take a bump. Okay. All right. Take a suplex." And this was only after a day. Like we went through a lot. We were in there for 5 hours the first day she ever stepped in there. So the next day it was like he didn't know how far we had gotten. And then just to kind of like push her out there even more, she really liked Hurricane Rana's right from the jump. Like it's even her favorite move that her mother loves that move. That's her favorite move that she does because she's so good at it. Like on day 3, she was doing them. So when the coach came down, he goes, he asked her mother the same thing. Like, who's her father? Like, did she watch wrestling? The answer was no. So then at that point, when he agreed with me and I told him, right, I wasn't wrong, we were both like, there's something there. And surely enough, here we are 4 years later and 4 years later, 5 years later. And now she's ready to go and debut and do her own thing. But it literally started with a girl that knew nothing about wrestling that day.
Yeah, man. Then you know, from learning from your stepdad and stuff, man, it's probably got to be a lot. Does he explain a lot of things to you, like yeah, you should do this move because blah 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 bam. You know, it's like that makes so much sense why I should do this move and stuff. You know what I mean? You know, do you take some of his advice or some of it like, yeah, it'd be all right.
not always. It's not always that simple, but yeah,
I get
we literally got into it a little bit right before we came on because we weren't in agreement on something. But like Sage is a good little worker, so and probably gonna, like she said it earlier when Remy was asking, she says it's hard for me to admit, and it's not hard for me to admit it, but I'll say it in front of her, even though it might cost me for the rest of our lives together. But she's a good little worker, and realistically, the reality is Sage is at a completely different level, firing at all cylinders, than I ever was when I was her age. When I was her age, I was still trying to figure out who I was going to be in that ring. I was still trying to figure out my moves and like what I was going to bring to the table. And I think at this young age, she's got it. And I don't know why or how or why she was gifted with the knowledge of knowing I got it. But she's a good worker and she adapts really well to any situation she's put in. And I think that's really what's made her that great is that she is very, very good under pressure. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah, wrestling, man. It's like yeah, it's like an improv, man. And sometimes things don't always gonna go right, man. You gotta learn, bam, oh man, what I gotta do here, bam, bam, here we go, you got those instincts, bam, there you go. So,
Yeah.
nothing will mess up, man. Everybody think, it was supposed to happen, part of the show, shoot. So. So now y'all train together and stuff, man. Do y'all ever have those moments and stuff like where you got other trainers, y'all are arguing or whatever, and sometimes it might get a little heated and everybody's like, "Ooh, oh
Oh
man,"
yeah.
because
Oh
my
yeah.
dad, he trained me like he coached me in little league, 1 year. After
Right.
that was it, and then after that he coached my brother and sister softball and stuff. But yeah, we had those times and stuff where my mom was like, "Oh my God, this is embarrassing the family. Oh my Lord, like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
man, like, what?"
Oh
But
yeah.
I'm like, "What?"
It was correct me if I'm wrong. It was when we first opened up our doors because remember, so when I met her, I was running a little school called NSW. It wasn't really mine per se. I kind of didn't know or have the knowledge of how to run my own school, so it kind of went under when COVID hit. But then once I got with I started asking Sean Hardy questions of how do I do this, how do I do that, and Sean Hardy, we'll say it first. There's God, then there's Sean Hardy. We love him. He gave me all the tools that I needed to succeed the second time around. But it was bad at first at NSW times. Now that we have NEWA, which is Northeast Elite Wrestling Academy, now that we're running that and we have our students, like the Grays are my students, and when they started off, they were here. There was times where we'd get into it, and the Grays, like, here's the Grays, okay, here's Coach, and you see Damien and Salem, they're both way taller than me, and Damien's way more built than I am. And then there's this little girl who's like not even 5'4", maybe 100 pounds wet, and we're going at it about different thoughts, and they're like, guys, it's okay. But like we don't really argue like crazy like that, but we definitely have our differences in mindset. But I think a lot of that goes with
we say the same thing. Like we
yeah,
think alike, which causes the arguments.
yeah. We butt heads on a lot of things, but the one thing I fail to recognize sometimes, and Rob, you'll back me up here. Wrestling's changed so much. Now, when I started, when I was 16, I'm 30 now. That's almost 14 years. Like when I started, things were different. So with her, she looks at wrestlers now and sees girls now, and then where my prospect might or my advice would have been good back in I don't even know 2000 whatever it was. Hers needs is current, So that's where we butt heads. And then again, like she says, we kind of meet in the middle. We're like, oh, we were both right. Okay, I guess we're fine.
That's right. That's right. Now, yeah, and this Saturday, or not this Saturday, last Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, y'all got to go down to come down to 1CW and all,
Yeah.
what I mean? So how was that trip? Did y'all have a fun trip, and all that good stuff? 'Cause I think I got to meet Sage there. I think that was the first time I got to meet you there or whatever.
Yeah, it was my birthday trip.
Oh, it was your birthday trip?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a birthday trip. She's the one who was saying happy birthday to at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right. Yeah, my bad. See, I'm slow. I'm out. I'm,
No, it's all
I'm
good.
just yeah, okay.
I embarrassed her. She didn't know it
No,
was
it's
coming.
so
That was me and Uncle Hardy's plot together along with Mom. She
Yeah.
had no idea it was coming.
Yeah, 'cause I'm sitting in
Okay.
the seat and Mom gets her phone out. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And then she starts facing towards me. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And then I hear over the mic that my
It's me.
dad's coming out, and I'm like, "Is his match first?" And then I look at the card, so I took a picture of the card. I'm like, "No, it definitely says fourth." And then I see him with the cake come out, and I'm like, "Mom, what are you doing? I'm not getting up. What are you doing?" And then she's like, just listen, just listen. 'Cause I do good under pressure, but I don't like center of attention unless I'm in the ring. So
Yeah.
I was very uncomfy, and then it was a mess, and yeah.
It was a good trip. We've been down to Delaware together a couple times. You know, obviously now she's a coming of age of being able to get out there and kick butt. But you know, every trip means everything to us to Delaware because she's gotten so many opportunities since CCW came on and became sister companies and coalition with 1CW. She's gotten so many. Like she met,
Becca.
yeah, she met Becca Scott. She loves Becca Scott.
Yeah.
Very big love for Becca Scott. Gave her some advice in the back. She loves. She met Masha Slamovich, who it's funny, and like that's why I say I feel old. Like I came up with Masha when she started. We were well, maybe not when she started, but we were in the same locker room in ECPW in Ridgeville Park for a while together. And then you know, now years later, there's Masha. She's doing her thing. We saw her on AEW, I think a week before when she was on a dark match for AEW, like a year ago. And then the next week, she got to meet Masha in person at 1CW. So 1CW has really given me a chance to like give her everything that I dream I'd had as a kid. It wasn't like my parents didn't want to give it to me. Times were different back then. Yeah. Oh my God, our favorite girls, and if they watch this, we'll tag them. Whatever. We love the Renegade Twins. Those are our girls. We love them. They are amazing, and I think I'm gonna say it. I don't care if I get heat. I think they are better than the Bellas ever were. I said it. I don't care what it is. I'll die on that
So
hill.
I'll agree with you that. I actually talked to Robin the other day. It was their birthday or whatever. I was talking to her, wish her happy birthday. I was like, yeah, make sure you tell your mom and dad I said hi and stuff, you know what I mean? Because Mama Renegade, she came all the way out from the home one time when I was ring announcing. She came, she was like, well, if you guys are wrestling, I'm going to 1CW and meet Rob, you know what I mean? So, okay. I was like, all right. Mama Renegade, she ought to be my favorite.
Yeah, there you go.
Mama Renegade had me shook one time. I remember the first time I met her, she was like, Remy, I know you ain't being disrespectful putting that picture. I'm like, what picture? Come to find out it was a picture of I think her name was Madeline Hogan.
Yes.
Shout out to Madeline if you're watching this. But she's a singer and she was training to be a wrestler at one point, but she decided to step back and she was thinking about being a ring announcer instead. But she had like a specific for some reason I thought she resembled the Renegade Twins. So I put up doesn't this girl look like like the Renegade Twins? And I put hashtag Renegade Triplets. And I think I tagged Mama Renegade. She wasn't mad, and she was like, "Give me that. Are you going to be a good boy today?" I'm like, "Yes, Mama Renegade. I'm not. I don't want no smoke." And then to make it even worse, I see Papa Renegade too, look like a whole wrestler. I'm like, "Hey man, look, if you ever wrestle, man, like I'll buy all your shirts, man. Just don't beat me up or anything."
Yeah. And that's the thing about the wrestling thing too. Like when you're fan, like people don't realize it. Like honestly, that we were talking about this not too long ago. Like there really wouldn't be a Miguel Del Barrio or Saige Del Barrio or FPW or NEWA or any of the students that we may have had a chance to influence in wrestling. There wouldn't be any of that if we didn't have a good home team. You know, like as much as it's us getting our butts kicked in the ring or going around and dealing with butt kicking, like if it wasn't for Melody being there supporting us and making sure we were good all the time, it wasn't for, her younger sister and older sister and younger brother being like our biggest fans. If it wasn't for our friends, like we have a friend over right now in the next room, like his name's Altric Warner, and he's been my friend since I've been young, and since like to him, that she's his niece, because we've known each other so long. But like our whole community on this side over here, they're all behind us. We carry Strasbourg in the Poconos on our sleeve and in our heart. So anytime we're doing any events around here, they all come out in full force and support us. So we really thank all our fans that have had our backs from the beginning because we wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for them.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, the fans, they do the thing, man. They love their people. When they love them, they love them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And hopefully, man, 1CW, you guys get to wrestle with both, have a tag match at 1CW or something. And hopefully, I get to rep that match. Yeah, I want to rep that match. You know what I mean? I've repped your dad before, Sage. You know what I mean? So hopefully, you won't yell at me as much as your dad. You know what I mean? So.
I mean, just said it. It's funny because like I was just watching a promo of Eddie back in the day when he was arguing with Vicky and the girls were involved with my fiance, and I said this would be awesome if I could use something like this to go heel. And with her, like her biggest thing is she never wants to let me down, and she really does do a good job to make me proud of her in that ring and out of it. But like everybody says it to us, like you guys meeting us and talking to us now, getting to know who we are. Like everybody says, like, hey. we know that she's getting started. We know that you're doing your thing. When are you guys gonna verse each other? And we look at each other like it's gonna happen eventually. We don't know when, we don't know how, we don't know why or for who. But eventually Sage and Miguel are gonna go at it, and it's gonna when the dust clears, everyone's gonna be at the edge of their seat waiting to see who comes out on top, because that's gonna be pretty rough and epic. It's gonna be a good rivalry there.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love to see that stuff. I can imagine y'all going back and forth, watching the promos, y'all cut
Oh
on
yeah.
each other. So man, that
Oh
would be
yeah.
great. That would be great.
Yeah.
So now you got you have a show coming up on the 13th of May, don't you?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
tell
We
us
have a
about
Mother's
that.
Day show.
Because you had I think you had one in April, but didn't it get rained out or
Yeah,
weather
it got rained
messed it
out.
up?
We had a venue that we were dealing with, but like I can do everything I can on the promotion side to get you more people to come to your venue and do your things that you're doing at your venue. But if you don't work with me and we don't meet in the middle and I'm doing all the work, there's no reason for me to be there. So as of right now, we have all our venues. What's up, Damien? Now he's watching your interview on the podcast. Um, yeah, she was making fun of him the last time he had an interview with you guys. Like, hey, you got to do this. But anyways, so we had a venue that we were our first year of FPW. We were indoors, but now we have a couple outdoor venues. So hopefully Mother Nature doesn't beat us this time. But yeah, we have a Mother's Day show coming up, and it's I think we're gonna kick butt on that one. The card we have new stars coming in that we've never had on FPW before. Hungry guys, and some of them are from like the gym where Cheeseburger is trading his students. Some of the guys and girls are coming from Ricardo Rodriguez, who just moved down here to Lancaster, and it has his shows out there. We got one CW guys slated to come down too. Like it's gonna be good. We have a good year planned out.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Now, is the Sage making her wrestling debut, singles debut on that show? Is she getting
We're pushing to try
not
to
yet?
get it to happen. We're definitely down for it. I just think the time, like, so the only thing that Sage has got to work on, and it again, when she was training, it comes from it came during COVID. So think about it.
Mm,
Technically, she's been around and she's been busting her ass for
yeah.
3 years, but for a lot of that, it was just me and her. So the thing with that is, she gets used to dad in the ring. She doesn't get used to Miles Millennium or Ty Awesome or
Yeah.
a Chris Wilde in the ring. So
Yeah.
now it's time for her to, like I told her today, I'm like, look, love you. You're my kid and I do love you, but daddy can't be around all the time. I'm not going to be there making all your decisions for CCW. That's an all women's league and you got to be able to stand out. So that's where she's at right now. She's willing to take on the world, but I told her there's time to grow.
That's right. Oh, go ahead, Remy.
I was gonna say you're gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm,
Nervous.
I mean, I know your dad told you this, but I'm gonna tell you something that one of my favorite wrestlers, The Rock, once told me, which has actually been proven, has been proven true in my own personal experience. Being in the music industry, not so much, but as a singer, is being consistent um, gets you there. No, being persistent gets you there. Being consistent keeps you there. And another thing that The Rock said was a lot of times when people tell you you can't, they're actually telling you your own, they're actually telling you their own limitations. Their limitations are not your limitations. So reach for the stars and keep on going. Um, if I could offer you any, I'm not a wrestler, but if I could offer you any advice, because I always say the music industry and the wrestling industry, they're kind of both in the same. Just that the wrestling
Absolutely.
industry is more strenuous. The music industry is just vocal or instruments and so on. So unfortunately, I like to say things are gonna be smooth with people, but you're always gonna have that one person that or persons or a few people that doubt you. But always remember, the people that normally tell you you can't or you won't, they can't do it themselves. But you could write your own story. So just keep on at it. And by the way, with my whole music thing, when I started doing music, people laughed us on the stage. I will never forget. It was 1999, and I was singing. Our group was covering "I Want It That Way" by the Backstreet Boys. People laughed at us. The first couple minutes they laughed, and then by the time the song was done, people were amazed at who we were. The end story to our band was we ended up covering a Christmas song on national radio in our country, Guyana, and we were this close to recording music
Wow.
overseas. And we've had people doubt us before and said we couldn't do it, but we said no, you can't do it, but we can. So you're good. You're going to be great, Sage.
Yeah, she is.
You're going to be great, and best believe when you do. And you too, Miguel. I'll be asking for the Barrio signature on my shirt when y'all release
Thanks,
that
buddy.
merch. So
Yeah, man.
just remember
Absolutely.
that.
It's all about her now, man. I just want her to have the life that I tried to work for. You know, everything changed for me when me and her mom got together. I had a little guy already, but when we got together, like everything became about them. Like even this wrestling thing. Then I remember telling my mom, "No, I'm going." Like when she started getting into it, I'm like, "No, my main focus is get her there now." So, and anybody else that comes through through those ropes in our training ring, if they want to get there, I'm gonna get them
That's right. That's right. Yeah, no, and look, Sage, if you go against Ty Awesome or whatever, give him a couple extra ones for me because every time, if you ever look at one CW stuff, like extracurricular stuff, and he's beating up somebody, security or whatever, it's always me. You know what I mean? I never get the chance. I'm not never going to get the chance to do anything back. But so, you got to be the one. The future.
Rob, I told you not to count the man's shoulders too slowly. You did it, and that's why you did that. And I warned you. Kathy's the other one too. Now Thunder Rosa is threatening to chop her. Like
Oh,
y'all are costing me. We don't have health
uh,
insurance at Ringside
uh,
Society. You got
that's
to
right.
stop.
That's right. I know. I
We're
tried.
not going to
I
financially
tried.
recover from this.
That's right. That's right. So when is y'all's next appearance? You know, what I mean, is it the May the show in May, or do y'all have something coming up before then?
there. We have no. I have a show coming up on this Friday against one of my idols in the indie scene is Matt Turner, and I've been waiting for that match. That's my next show for. There's another company starting up in this area. It's called BYOW's Bring Your Own Wrestling. So I get my match that I've wanted for a while with a guy from Ring of Honor like Matt Turner. And yeah, that May one, yeah, we're definitely gonna be in full force, ready to go, and show everybody why the Del Barrio name is gonna be taking over pretty soon.
That's right. That's right. I'm all for that. I'm all for that, man. So I do
Anytime,
got
man. If you guys want to come down, let me know, please.
oh, I'm always down, man. I'm free. I think I'm free. That's not. Is it the day before Mother's Day? Because
The day
Mother's Day I
before,
can't do
yeah, it's our
nothing.
Mother's Day
Okay, I'm
special
good. Day
show.
before. Day before I'm good. You know what I mean? That day, I'm like,
Please,
nah. My mom
Remy,
was
yeah,
beating me
please
Remy,
up.
do you want to pull up, man? Let's do it, buddy.
book him. Honestly, I would, but I probably work that day because I unfortunately I work on the weekends. But please take Rob. I mean, he needs to work. You know, what I mean, just let him. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
Rob,
get
let's
him to
do it.
go out more to beyond Delaware and Delmarva. I'm trying to get him to go to Pennsylvania and New
Yeah,
Jersey
yeah.
and New York and So yeah, please take him
Oh
by all
yeah,
means.
Rob,
Let
message
him.
me afterwards, bro. Let's do
Yeah.
it then on that day.
There we go. There we go.
All right,
Yeah,
brother.
yeah. I'm like Ron White in the the blue collar comics thing. You know what I mean? Like Jeff Foxworthy and what was his name? The Here's Your Sign and Larry Cable Guy. They were out there. Da, da, da. I'm like Ron White. I just like hang out and chill. you know. All right. Yeah, I do my thing. All right, so I do got to ask, traveling around, you guys traveling around or whatever. Do y'all have any funny travel stories that have happened to you? Like maybe, maybe you've come across a Sasquatch or whatever. 'Cause I know y'all up there in the Poconos, man. Some crazy stuff like chupacabras or the Jersey Devil or something like fly around up in the mountains or something. Man, has anything
One
crazy
of
happened?
You got Delaware trips where you were
Well, you
telling me.
give one and I'll give one because I know you're gonna get annoyed with what I'm gonna bring up. But go ahead.
So it was one of our trips to Delaware, and to pass time, I don't know.
At the beach?
Rob, no, it was on.
Yeah, he's coming.
It was on our way to Delaware, and to pass time, we passed the music around, or we do like stupid stuff to pass time. I think one of our dumb moments where he got was it? It was the Pokemon watch. I don't know what it's called, the Fitbit.
Oh yeah, it was like we were huge into like Pokemon and stuff too. So it was like the Pokemon Go watch at the time.
And he was
Mm.
trying to hatch his egg, but he couldn't do it. So he's sitting in the
Oh,
the passenger seat vertically, and just goes like this and starts doing like manly sit-ups, and it
it's
works.
to get the count steps up.
Okay, it worked.
So she recorded me, and I'm over here doing sit-ups in sitting position in the chair. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one actually. She was cracking up on that. For me, it was actually happening at the Poconos. I'm pretty sure you guys, well, Rob too. I'm sure you guys are familiar with, but their like uncle slash godfather is Milo's godfather is FPW's heavyweight champion actually is Luca Mancini.
Yeah, I like
So
Luca.
yeah, so the one show we did for some guys that aren't even around anymore. But we were out there, and the show had ended. We were up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and the show ended. So me and Ace Austin was there. So me and Luca were like, "Yo, we got to meet Ace and let's talk to Ace a little bit, get some advice." Ring was getting broken down, and Ariana or Saige went out there. I keep calling her by her shoot name, Jesus. So Saige was out there. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go start the car. All right, let's go start the car so we can get out of here, so nobody asks us no questions." She comes back and she goes, "It was the way she said it." She goes, "Dad, we gotta go." I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "It's snowing really bad." I'm like, "Okay, well, go let Luca know." And it's the way, because I heard it, and Luca laughs and makes fun of her to this day. She goes up to Luca and she goes, "Uncle Luca, we gotta go." And he's like, well, what's going on? What's the problem? He goes, like, her voice just changed. She's like, "Uncle Luca, it's snowing outside.
I did not.
We have to go." And Luca's like, "Who am I speaking to right now? Like, who are you?"
No.
And we went outside. It was barely flirting. We're like, "What are you doing?"
This is where the communication comes in. That's what my mom said. That's what I was trying to tell them, but they kept making fun of me about it. Down in Strasbourg, it was actually snowing.
It was
So
up there. It wasn't.
Yeah, so that's why I was trying to translate the message that it was snowing. No, I did not change my voice. Maybe I did.
No, she changed her voice.
I did not.
You asked Luca that question on a podcast one day about Saige, the snowing story about Saige, and he'll tell you the same thing exactly like I did.
We'll go back and forth on that. No.
Yeah, I'll ask Luca that question. I'll ask
There you
Luca
go,
that.
there
I'll
you
see
go,
him
there
at.
you go.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
He goes against me.
I'll ask him. I'll see him at 1CW, or if we have him on here before, I'll
Yeah,
ask
be
him.
like, "Hey, Luca,
I'll see what's up.
what's the story about Saige and it's snowing in Scranton?" He'll tell you right away.
Yeah.
So dramatic.
There you go. Yeah, if you're there or whatever, I'll get the camera out and I'll record his own.
There you go.
So
Awesome.
we get to the bottom of things.
There you go.
No.
I'm just teasing. I'm teasing.
And he's a heel.
So I do gotta ask, what are some new movies and TV shows you all are watching right now? Because I'm always trying to find something new because I'll get stuck watching the same thing. Like right now, I've been watching South Park like over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that.
So we've
just comfort
actually,
shows.
it's funny because when I first came into her life, she was totally against or didn't understand the concept of Star Wars. And then one day it was actually once I finally, like, we moved in with each other and everything was good and we see each other every day. I think it was the summertime or maybe it was even during COVID where me and her sat down and I said, "Hey, try Star Wars one more time." And she watched like more than 10 minutes because that's all she could get through the first movie was Phantom Menace. When she got into it, it was like Star Wars is like part of my life. Like she loves Star Wars now. So the one thing we definitely want to get into the Mandalorian, but she usually watches those like what's the 90-Day Fiance shows with her mom, and I'm just sitting here like,
okay.
what am I watching?
Yeah. Growing up, I didn't really I was raised that technology isn't good for you. It's not because it's not good for your eyes. I was raised with Leapfrog and all that. Like, I'll be straightforward. That's what I was raised with, Leapfrog. So I didn't really watch the cartoons. I didn't really watch the television. So even now, well, yeah, but she didn't really let me watch it.
Yeah.
She hated the theme song.
Yeah.
But even now, I don't really watch TV like that unless it's with my mom. Like, we have our 90-Day Fiancé shows, My Big Fat Fabulous Life.
I think those are the big ones.
1,000-Pound Sisters. Like, the reality shows that are based on people's lives. That are, actual... Like, those type of shows. That's what I really, watch. Or, the documentaries, like the wrestling documentaries.
Right, yeah, she watches those. She goes to sleep to wrestling. Like, when I first moved in, they all, fall asleep with the noise of the TV. I had to learn to do that. But best believe, man, if, you guys ever came over and she went passed out in her room, all you're going to hear is wrestling in her room. Because she literally goes to sleep to wrestling every night. Like, you'll hear her playing through midnight. And I'm like, what is she doing?
Ronnie yells at me. She'll hear, during the night. And I don't know why. I guess because I watch it on YouTube at times. And I guess the same wrestling video popped up a few times. And my Aunt Ronnie... She hears Charlotte Flair screaming, and now it's an inside joke. I don't know. It's a tradition now for me to play it every time she's over. It's the funniest thing.
There you go. There you go. Hey, don't feel bad or whatever, because I'm the same way. I go to sleep with the TV on or whatever. I don't know. I think I might have tinnitus or something. Has some kind of noise going on. Some kind of background noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man, because I don't know. I get too paranoid if it's too quiet or whatever, But then I'm like,
That's
well, I
how
got
we
three
are.
beagles.
Yeah, that's how
I got
we
three
are.
beagles.
Yeah, silent.
I'm trying to learn to, I guess, not sleep in silence, but like, I guess sleep in silence in a way. Like, there's times where I fall asleep to like piano music in the background, or like a soft like ocean documentary. Like, I'm trying to, I guess, tone my way out of it, because when I move out, those bills are not gonna be pretty. So I'm trying to like tone my way out of
Constant
it.
YouTube streaming all night.
I'm trying to tone my way out of it.
That's right. That's right. Now I do gotta ask you when you were talking earlier about facing Roman. There's a back. You said there's a backstory for me facing Roman. So I gotta ask, what is that backstory to facing Roman?
The backstory is she's the only Roman fan in this damn house.
No, if I
Oh.
go on you right now.
She's not in this house.
No, mom is. If I go get my mom right now.
Mel.
Everybody.
Now we're gonna have to get Mel.
See, that sounds. See, my sister's name is Melody too. When we were younger, we used to call her Melvedere because of the old Bugs Bunny cartoon. It was a Belvedere.
This is what Saige does. She tries to get her to agree.
No,
Like
she said
Saige,
yeah.
she's trying to tell her
She
just
just
say
said,
yes.
No, she just said yeah. She
She's-
shook her head.
she's-
She
so-
shook her head yes.
So she's a huge Roman fan, and for like obviously, she really started watching wrestling those last 2 years. Like now she's studying tape instead of just watching for the enjoyment of it. So back when she first started watching it, she didn't really know who Roman was. And when she started liking Roman, when he started doing his tribal chief stuff, I told her, I was like, nah, I still don't like him. I still don't believe in him. And she's like, oh, I love him. He's gorgeous and he's a good promo guy. And I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, who are we talking about? Roman. I'm like, let me tell you something about someone that made Roman look bad a couple years ago in a promo battle. His name is John freaking Cena, okay? That's who you should be watching, not Roman. See? See?
Everybody that John Cena wanna be, everybody loves John Cena. It's because of his
I'm a
name.
huge Cena fan.
Exactly. There you go. Point proven.
Hey, John Cena once almost stole my girlfriend one time. It was the record release party. Remember his CD, the rap CD release?
Trademark?
Well, it was the day it came out. They were wrestling at University of Delaware, and I remember I went up there, and the girl I was seeing at the time, she was like, she didn't like wrestling or whatever, but she liked John Cena, and she was going to meet me after at the Best Buy where John Cena was going to be to get his autograph. And I'm like, all right, yeah.
My
So we go there. We're kind of at the end, and we're waiting there, and she comes up there. She was like, don't sign this. Can you sign my butt or whatever? She went up, bent over to him. He was just like, all like that. And the WWT grabbed her, we're like interviewing her, like, oh,
damn it, Cena.
all right, like, hey, if I gotta lose a girl seeing that's fine, go ahead. You got way more money and more respect than me, better looking than me. Hey, do your thing. I wouldn't blame you. Oh man, but that was great though. It was when he had the spinner belt too, and I got to spin the spinner thing. That was pretty cool.
That was
Cena's always cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah, he had his boy the trademark with him, man. That was that was crazy. Yeah, woo. I think I'm probably like sick, man. Yeah, I'm in my 40s now, man. Oh my lord, man, that's a long time ago. So, anyways, I do gotta say, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show, chatting with us, about your career and everything and all, and what's next in front of your pro and all that. I wish y'all nothing but the best. I hope y'all, achieve all your goals. You all get to go, all around the country, kicking butt, collecting gold everywhere you go. And Saige, I hope you get to see with CCW one time, and Marcello, kicking butt up there with Kyle and King, fighting for the belt. Who's the champ now? Christina Marie. Yeah, with Christina Marie, going for that gold. I'm all for it. You know what I mean? I wish nothing but the best for you guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having us. We really appreciated this. Like I said, there was on my radar when I said it with her, after, she started doing her thing and she started talking to Marcello and we want to try to get her there at some point. We're like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to society and see what they're up to. And then surely enough, you were like, yeah, let's do it, man. Like you said earlier, we were on the radar, but it had to be the right time and the right place. So here we are, man. Thank you guys so much for having us.
Honestly, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and everything. Our busy schedules to, shoot the breeze, and thank you for contacting us. We really and truly do appreciate it, and wish you all the best and everything. I just got one more question. I just gotta ask, man. So,
Go ahead.
in regards to FPW, which is y'all's promotion, and your training school and everything, who in your area do you think we should be on the lookout to have on the show? Because we're always, I know a lot of people, Rob knows a lot of people, but we don't know everybody. So we're sure there's some that slip through the cracks. Are there any that you would recommend that we should definitely have on the show?
No, I think I don't. I've seen a couple of your guys' episodes, and I tune in every time I see you guys have one. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Have you guys had Luca on there yet, or no?
Nope.
I think Luca's definitely one you should have on there. You guys already had the Grays. La Fantasia Ronnie, she's so good. We love her to death, and she's like a sister to me. Onto her. She needs to get a little more spotlight on her in this area. Uh, there's a couple guys coming up. You mentioned him, and I mean he's not part of this area. He's more the Jersey area. But anybody like Brian Matthews, Nick Thompson, the Cardinal Nick Thompson, those guys are all amazing wrestlers that sometimes don't have the connections with people to get on certain podcasts and stuff like that. But definitely those type of guys are great. They're talent that need to be in the spotlight, I think.
Awesome. We'll definitely be looking at them.
Absolutely.
I've seen La Fantasia before on
Yeah.
Facebook. I will definitely look into her as well. The unique thing I like to boast about is that we don't care if you make it to WB or AEW or not. The fact that you go into a professional, and I told several people this, the fact that you go into the ring and you put on a show for us is enough for us to say, hey, we want to talk to you. But I only
Right.
had one match. Okay, that's one match we could talk about. We don't care
Right.
if you had one match or 1,000 matches. We could talk about. We're skilled enough that we could talk about that one match. And I told this one young lady the other day, who I'm not who's going to remain nameless, because I don't want people to get offended, because people get offended easily these days. But she was like,
Yeah.
"Why do y'all want to interview me?" She actually was she graduated from Nightmare Factory down in Georgia, and she's like, "Why do y'all want to interview me? I mean, I don't think I'm ready. I only had one match." I'm like, "Okay." So we had a second generation wrestler whose mother um, was is a wrestler, and he started wrestling recently, and we interviewed him after just having one match. Now let me ask you something. What's the difference between, if you take away his lineage, what's the difference between you and him? She's like,
Right.
awesome, I like it. I'm ready to do the interview. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, all right, let's go. So we don't care about, we don't really look at stuff like that. We're for everybody, man. We're all inclusive. We interview referees, managers, promoters, and anybody. I look at it this way: if we would do it, if we would interview, one ring announcer from WB, why not a ring announcer from FPW or 1CW, which we've done.
I actually
We've
got a
done so
rep that I
before.
would like you guys to talk to if that's the case. But that's the reason we liked you guys too from the very jump when we started watching you guys, and then obviously the Grays were on there who were my students and her training partners. Like that's, we need more of that. Like wrestling, it sucks. And like I said, I've been doing it since 16, so I'm 30 now. But the thing is, at the end of the day, we all do this because we love wrestling. Whether it's a podcast, whether you're a ref, whether you're a wrestler, a manager, a GM, an owner of a promotion. Like if we all work together and have a good community and good people on the team, the sky's the limit. The sky's whatever
Yeah.
we dictate it, whatever the fans dictate it. Like I don't care if
And
there's a wrestler that, and she says it all the time too. Like we know a couple wrestlers, and we'll keep them nameless, that they're jerks in real life. We're not that. But we rather deal with people like yourselves who care about wrestling, are genuinely good people. We want to talk to you guys. We don't want to give other people time that, they wouldn't give the time of day to a person that wasn't a wrestler or a place where they can get clout. So that's why we loved when we got this set up. We're like, oh yeah, let's do it. We got to do it now for sure.
yeah, so I look at us as more like than just a pod. I mean, this may sound like a silly pipe dream, but one of my goals with one of my goals. I don't know if Rob has the same goal. I'm pretty sure he does, because I always say if I had to choose somebody that had like the same work ethic as me, it would be Rob, because he hit the ground running when he joined our team back in the first season. I always say that one of the pipe dreams, the goals of this, aside from letting people know what events are in the area, which we're going to be sharing, if it's okay with you, we'll start sharing FPW events
Thank you.
whenever you guys have it, let people know. But another
Absolutely.
a silly pipe dream, and it may sound silly to people, is that we hope this podcast encourages people to keep going. Oh man, I just had 2 matches, 3 matches. I've had 30 matches. I don't think I could do this anymore. I'm not going anywhere. They go on ringside to side. Ringside Society hits them up. They come out. They're on. They make an appearance. They feel good about themselves. You know what? Ringside Society. For some reason, I feel like I can go on. I don't want to give up yet. Ringside Society just gave them hope. That's a pipe dream that I have for this podcast, just to give people let people know that yes, we do care about you. We don't care. No, no, you're not a nobody. You're somebody. You're that somebody we want to talk to. So
Rem,
that's that's one goal I have for this as well too. So
Remy,
yeah,
if that's a silly pipe dream, then I never want to be a wrestler, bro. Like you've been asking us questions all damn night, so now I'm gonna ask you one. Like I said, man, before a wrestler, I'm a father and a person, a good person. Remy, if that's what your dream is, Rob, if that's what your dream is on this podcast, you did it with us tonight. Keep doing what you love doing. Like I love these type of podcasts where we talk about wrestling, but also personal stuff of why we are who we are. At the end of the day, when she got into this and when I got into this and when we started the school, like I want to see change in this wrestling business. And Rob, you can attest this. Not everything in the wrestling business is gold and pretty roses and people living their dreams. It's not. It takes a lot to get there, and you go through a lot of crap with wrong people to get there as well. So I want to be that change, and we're not going to create any change if we're just sitting at home doing nothing. And that's the same dream you guys have, but with the podcast aspect of it. So Remy, that the fact of the matter that you say it's a silly pipe dream, I think you should take that pipe dream and whoever doubts you and your podcast, throw it right at him, man, and tell him to just go lay off, man. Because if that's what you're doing with this podcast, I can't thank you enough, man, because you're doing something positive in the wrestling business. So keep on doing it, man.
awesome. Thanks, Miguel.
No
And
problem.
before we wrap this up, I just gotta say, we just gotta find out, um, where can fans find y'all on social media when they want to find out when the next
Oh,
when the Barrios are going to be having their next match? Purchase Del Barrio merchandise, which you hope is going to be coming soon.
so
And
yeah.
where can bookers and promoters find you? By the way, Miguel, you gotta make that tiger mask T-shirt if you haven't already, man. It sounds
Yeah,
good on
I'm thinking
paper.
about
I
some
think you
ideas
should
right
do it.
now. So you could definitely look us individual. We're very close tied to the Frontier page, obviously. If you go to YouTube and look up Frontier Pro Wrestling, we're on there. She has Saige Del Barrio on Facebook. I have Miguel. You guys know T Gray's there too. We do have new merch ideas coming up with not just us, but I kind of got all the wrestlers of FPW that are around all the time for a collaboration. And each of them are going to have their own little section on our website that we're working on. So that's going to be dropping on the Frontier page really soon. And this little one has got to get started on making her Twitter and Instagram, which I've been telling her for about 3 weeks now, but she's going to get on that. So it's all our names, Saige, Miguel, all that. It's on there, man.
Awesome. So for those of y'all that heard, definitely follow these two impressive, people in professional wrestling. This great father and daughter tag team that's going to be kicking a lot of butt, taking a lot of names, making a lot of headlines. You don't want to be on the outs. Definitely shoot them a follow and make sure that you get that Del Barrio merchandise whenever it comes out. If you can't make the shows they're on, that's another way you can actually support indie wrestling is purchasing the merchandise. If you don't support indie wrestling, I'm gonna let Rob Bass over here come over to your house and eat all your food. And next thing you know, when you go into your fridge, you find a skipper rope. That means you got to skip them meals because Rob done came over there and ate
And
your
ate all
food,
the
and he'll
food.
do it too. So definitely make sure you subscribe to you support indie wrestling. And besides, that's where most of your AEW and WWE superstars come on. I mean, come on,
Yep.
just think about it. You see some jabroni on here going, "Hey, I just got the new Sage Del Barrio or Miguel Del Barrio T-shirt from WWE Shop or AEWShop.com." You can be like, "Man, sit yourself down, man. I got the Del Barrio merchandise from when they were on the Indies. I'm a
Indies,
real fan.
yeah.
Yeah, started from the bottom. Now we here.
Yeah,
So
bro.
definitely,
Listen, and as soon as
definitely."
that stuff drops and we get that, I'll make sure I get 2 shirts out for y'all for sure. Thank you so much for supporting us. It really does mean the world to me and her.
We appreciate it, man. So y'all definitely make sure you're following them. And with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting heavy. My stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for dinner and a nap. Maybe not in that order, but before we partake in those activities, Raw Bass, the Mel Gibson to my Danny Glover, Sean Spence to my Burton Guster, and the I'm not gonna say Chewbacca to my no. Hey, I'm gonna stick with the old stuff. The Charlie Hostel by Shelton Benjamin. Where can fans find you on social media when they want to talk wrestling, find a way in experiences, purchase Raw base merchandise, and where can bookers or promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Rob_base82, Facebook Rob Base.
Awesome. And if you want to find me on social media, not that I say a lot of cool stuff, but I do go to a couple of cool places every now and then. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Remy Blue. I'm also on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue as well. And our podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Ringside Society, Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're on Facebook as a Facebook group, and we're also on Spotify, and we have a Teespring store where we sell official Ringside Society merchandise. We have t-shirts, we have tank tops, we have hoodies, we have sweatshirts, we even have coffee mugs for your favorite warm beverage. So make sure you check us out. Cop some Ringside Society merch. All proceeds go back into keeping our show afloat. They do not go back into our pockets. And last but not least, we have a YouTube channel where we have cool interviews like this one, like the one we had with the Brothers Gray, Sean Carlson, Red Dog, many great men and women in professional wrestling all over the world. All you gotta do is go on YouTube, type in Ringside Society. Once you see that really beautiful dark blue and light blue yin yang sound with the blue flames around it, that's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up and you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody tuning in live tonight. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. We strive on being one of the best wrestling podcasts a wrestling fan could and should listen to, and we will not stop doing that. To those y'all that are going to listen later on, we get a chance. Thank you very much in advance. And those y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away and take our merch. Well,
keep hating. Keep hating.
There you go. Well, like myself at the Golden Corral and Rob Bass at a taco festival, especially on Tuesday, we're not going anywhere for a while.
They hate us because they ain't us.
And we ain't stopping. With that being said, we just want everybody to know that we're very well aware to everybody and the grandparents and the parents of a podcast. But here's the thing. We're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. So with that being said, hey, yo, Rob Bass, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, one time for the great Pennsylvania wrestling scene, and one time for the father and daughter duo, the tag team that's going to kick a lot of butt all over the professional wrestling world, Saige and Miguel del Barrio.
Woo!
What type of podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
That's right. We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society, and we will be back later on this week with another impressive guest on another impressive episode. But until then, we just have 4 favors for y'all. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware. See y'all.